Hey everybody, I'm Frank Padgett and I'm 57 years old.
And I'm Ashley Padgett, and I'm 31.
And we've created this series called Conversations with My Daughter. This is a space where a father, that's me, and my daughter,
That's me.
we sit down and we talk about real life as it really happens.
We talk about faith, family, relationships, failures, successes, legacy, and everything in between.
No scripts, no pretending, just real conversations.
So, whether you're navigating your own timeline, figuring out your relationships, or just learning through setbacks, we hope we add something of value to you.
All right, let's get into
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with My Daughter. I'm Ashley, I'm daughter.
And I'm Frank, I'm dad.
And this is going to be a part two of what we talked about last week on emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. This is probably an episode that you are looking forward to because I will be explaining the deep seated reasons why I no longer cry. And we're also going to talk about what men want.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty deep for me. Why she doesn't cry, and her and I, we haven't even really talked about this that much either. So this is going to be an eye-opening experience for me as a father. So I would like to know because I do cry. I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to say that. So, but yeah. So we got a banger for you, as they say. So
let's
get into it. All right.
So I guess we'll start out on a more somber note, and then we'll end on a less somber note.
Okay. All right. All right.
All right. So let's get into it.
So let me ask you the question.
Okay.
So this is a very interesting topic for me because I think that when it comes to human emotions, and as I said in the last episode that we did in part one, the fact that our human emotions, we as humans, we didn't give those, we didn't create those.
Right.
God gave all humans the same emotions. And at some point in our lifetime, we're going to be in a position to express those emotions. But I firmly believe that the emotions that God has given us help us to stay balanced as people.
Yeah.
So that's just my personal belief. They're all necessary, even though some of those emotions get like a bad rap, whether it's depression or which is it's necessary, because we will all be depressed at some point in our lives, or whether it's give me another one that gets it. Anger. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being angry.
Yeah.
You don't have to, as the Bible says, sin in your anger, but you have every right to be angry about a particular situation. But anyway, so going deeper into this, let me ask you the question. You've been through a lot in your life, and Ashley will share her complete story with you at some point in time.
Yeah.
And but when you make the statement, why I don't cry, that's like one of those things where we live in a culture that, especially when it comes to, as it pertains to women, we tell women, oh, be strong and independent. And as I've said to you many times before, you better be careful with that, because whenever you're in trouble, no one comes to the aid of the strong and the independent.
Right.
It's always the not that weakness is somehow you're less than, because you're not. But no one comes to the aid of those who are just always strong, because it's not necessary. So my question is, and for me to know, and for our audience to know, why is it that you, I don't want to say you don't cry, but you, I guess, protect your feelings in that way where you won't allow yourself to express that particular emotion, whether it's tied to sadness or whatever. Because crying isn't necessarily always tied to sadness. Yeah, it can be tears of joy. Trust me, I've shed many tears of joy in my life. So I ask you the question, why is it that you don't cry?
Um, so I woke up thinking about this question. I actually went to sleep thinking about this question. I was like, I want to say this in a way that it doesn't like put me in a box.
Mm-hmm.
So I still haven't found out how to say it in a way that it doesn't put me in the box. I'm gonna just say it as it comes to me.
Okay.
So there are a couple reasons. One, like my dad said, you will hear my story. That's going to be on a later episode. But I have been through a lot in my life, and I think just because of everything that I've been through in my life, it's like emotional suppression a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like feel things. I used to cry all the time. I used to be an emotional person, and then it got to a point where I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna do that because it. I feel like it makes me feel weak if
Mm-hmm.
I get emotional. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like switched it off,
Mm-hmm.
and that was probably 10, 15 years ago. Um, and I'm not going to say I've never cried, but I have cried probably, I can count on my hands how many times I've cried in the past 15 years. Um, and it's weird because nowadays, like when I'm very emotional and I actually want to, I cannot
Mm-hmm.
cry. Like, I remember one time I was watching one of my favorite movies. It's called Passion of the Christ. If you've never
Mm-hmm.
seen it, please go see it. It is an amazing movie.
Yes, yes, it is.
I used to cry at that movie every time. And then I started watching it to the point where my thinking was, I'm going to watch this movie and not cry at this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten to that point the last few times that I watched it. I just kind of watched it. And I'm not going to say I watched it with like a calloused heart, but I'm just like, I just watch it with a straight face now. Because it's kind of like, okay, you felt this emotion before. You don't need to go through it again. Um, and I've done that a lot in life. It's like, I felt this emotion before, so I don't need to go through it again. So it's kind of like, not really what's the point of being sad, but kind of like, what's the point of being sad if I already know, like, this is going to happen? I've been through it before. It's just like to me, it's just another day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Another reason, um, like you said, you don't have to be strong all the time.
Right,
Well,
right.
in my life and all the things that I've been through, I feel like I do have to be strong because I've had a lot of people come up to me over the years saying, "Oh, you're my hero. Oh, I look up to you. Oh, you're so great and you're going to do great things," and all this stuff. So that kind of took a mental toll on me. Um
Okay.
and it kind of like shifted my focus to, not that emotions are bad, but if I'm now like, if somebody sees me cry, then they may think that I'm weak, and then I'm not as strong as I say that I am. So
Well, let me interrupt you right there because you said a lot and there's a lot to unpack there.
yeah.
Because no, because I think that this can really help some people. And then as you were talking, I thought about something within my own self, and I'll bring it up a little bit later. Just about the whole emotion and crying and stuff like that. Um, Now, let's give the audience just a little bit of context because, when people say things like, I've been through a lot in my life and stuff like that, I'm not asking you to go into any detail, but at least the subject matter wherein you've found your greatest challenges in life.
Okay.
I think it would be helpful
Yeah.
for the audience
Okay.
to know that much because it gives a little context around,
Yeah.
what you're, as to why you've taken the position that you have.
Okay. So, without going into too much detail, I guess I will say it like this. I have been through a childhood of medical trauma. I'll say it like that.
Mm,
I am a
it's a good way
hospital
to.
kid. I have been in and out of the hospital since I was born.
Yeah.
Um, I've had a lot of surgeries. My last surgery was in 2019.
Yeah.
So when I say I've been through a lot of medical trauma, you can kind of, you know, that and surgeries and then the emotional toll that comes with that and the physical toll that comes with that and then the kind of like the social toll that comes with that as well. I've lost a lot of friends because of it, and I've kind of become, I'm not going to say calloused, but I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, if I have another surgery, I'm just like, okay, whatever, it's just another day, because I've had so many. So it's not like I'm not emotional at all. It's not like I'm a robot. It's just like something in my brain decided to just one day just like switch. And then it's just like, you want to be the strong person? Okay, now you're the strong person. We're going to wipe out your sad emotion or part of it.
Well, okay. So that great context, and I think it gives people an idea into like who you are and the things that have shaped you in your life. And again, you've said a lot that probably needs to be unpacked a bit. And so I'll say this, and this is just a comment, then we can jump back into it. One of the things I think that we have to be careful of is the idea that we always have to be as people to be strong.
Yeah.
It amazes me. Someone can lose a loved one, right? And the one common thing that people have a tendency to say, and I think the people are well intentioned when they say it.
Yeah.
And I think that it stems out of they don't really know what to say. You don't really know what to say to someone who's just lost somebody, or who they have are experiencing something that can be very detrimental, very tragic. So people don't know what to say. I think all humans suffer the same thing, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But people have a tendency to say, well, just be strong, God's got you and stuff. Well, sometimes we always have to remember, we have to allow people to be human.
Yeah.
Life isn't just always about being strong, because one of the things that I like, me, I've never been much of a person who really cared for social media a lot. But one of the things that I'm seeing, and I'm actually liking it, is that more, and I think this is happening because of the advancements of AI, and how it becomes so much harder to determine what's real and what's fake.
Yeah.
Well, we as humans will always have a connection between each other, and the one thing that I see that stands out more than anything is just the authenticity of being human.
Yeah.
It's not about the perfect filter, and people want to see your flaws. They want to see that you suffer like they suffer.
Yeah.
You are not afraid to be vulnerable, like at times when other people have to be vulnerable. And I think that it connects us as humans to, at times, not just express that vulnerability, but show that vulnerability and not be ashamed of it. Because at the end of the day, we all question things, as to, how we should feel about this or that, or, but you just have to be careful. I'm just saying to you, when you say, well, I switched this off, well, at the end of the day, those surgeries and those hospital stays, I've been there. So my experience is different from your experience because you were the actual one going through those things.
Yeah.
I'm the one, as a parent, me and your mother, standing on the outside, sort of looking in, wishing that we could just pray a prayer and it all goes away, or have a magic wand and it all goes away, But that's not reality. So for every surgery, there's a fear, and there's nothing wrong with fear. Fear within itself is not bad. There's a fear because we know what the potential outcome could be, but we have to position ourselves to be like, okay, if that's God's will, that's God's will.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to be sad about it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be whatever about it. But it's just a real position that, it's maybe different from yours, I'm sure there's fear associated that you, that has been ever present when you're going through these situations as well. So to say I'm gonna turn it off might be an unhealthy thing to do.
I never said it was healthy.
I know. But anyway,
I want to talk about. You said the phrase "just be strong, God's got it."
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that phrase so many times over the years, and I think that's one of the reasons why. Because the phrase "just be strong" turned into the phrase "you're so strong."
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I became, the person that I am today. Like, vulnerability for me, it used to scare me so much because I always thought that being vulnerable would make me weak.
Right.
Because in the back of my head, I'm like, well, if I'm vulnerable, then that means that I am unloading all my emotions. And if I unload my emotions, then that means that I'm not as strong as people think I am.
Yeah, I get it.
But
I get it. I get
that's
that.
just me from hearing a lifetime of "you're so strong, you're my hero," or "you're my shiro," or things like that.
But you have to understand, people, when they say these things, they are well-intentioned in what they're saying, and they're even more than well-intentioned. They are amazed.
Yeah.
I myself have been amazed when I see you have this surgery, and I know what can go wrong. And then you come out of the surgery and you're up walking around like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself, taking all things into consideration, anybody would think, oh my goodness, I mean, she just had this surgery, and it's pretty heavy surgery. It wasn't like no minor surgery. It was pretty serious.
Yeah.
And then a few hours later, you're up walking around.
Yes.
As if nothing ever happened. So that's pretty, pretty amazing within itself.
Let me actually touch on that because it didn't always used to be like that. But I think the more surgeries I've had, the more I just went in with the mindset of, if it's my time, then it's my time. And I mean, I can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Also, I think my body maybe have been getting used to it. So it will bounce back a lot quicker because it's pretty much the same surgery over time.
Maybe. So I don't know.
I don't know, but I used to be down for days and be in the bed for days in the hospital, but over time I would just be, right after surgery, I would just be sitting up eating food or sitting up playing a game or walking around. Or my last surgery, I went in on February 13th of 2019. And I was released on February 14th of 2019. And it literally was the surgery didn't even happen. I didn't feel sick. I was just a normal person talking like I'm talking today. But I think part of me is okay, well, this surgery happened. All right, what's next?
Yeah. I think it's I think for anyone, because when you have like life challenging uh situations, and I can say that the surgeries that you've have all been like life challenging,
Yeah.
um it's just really hard to, I mean, you sort of have to take it as it comes,
Yeah.
not look too far down the road. But the one thing that I've learned through it and it all is really gratefulness. Just life is so short, life is so unpredictable, and that we all have a responsibility to be just grateful for what God gives us.
Yeah.
Um, we all have our plans. A lot of sometimes those plans are not in alignment with what the purpose that God has called us to. Um, and I think that wherever we find ourselves, the key is to be grateful.
Yeah.
So for you mentioned earlier that a lot of the hospital stays and stuff like that has caused you to lose some friendships and things. And I'll just say this to that. People are in your lives or in our lives for reasons and seasons.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that somebody's always going to be there, but they were there for a reason. They were there for a season, however long that season is, and we just have to be good with that.
Yeah.
It can be painful because you would think that, well, I don't know why this person is no longer around. I think they should be around. Well, they have their own journey, to follow as well, just like the rest of us have. So you just have to be grateful for the time that the person or persons was in your life.
Yeah.
So,
and it took me a long time to realize that, because I was a kid, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, I'm just like, well, I guess the season is over.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, on to the next.
Yeah, and on top of that too, so that season may be over, but it may be over for a number of reasons. I mean, you are you're very goal oriented.
Yeah.
You are very whatever you put your mind to, you have a tendency to do it. And if other people around you are not there doing that, it's not that you don't befriend them, but they may need to step aside for a season because they may hinder your growth, whatever that growth looks like. They have their own growth that they choose, but you don't want them hindering your growth, and you definitely don't want to hinder their growth.
Yeah.
So,
well, this was a heavy topic.
but I will say this too, and this is about myself. This whole emotion thing, and I definitely can relate to it as far as you always feel like you have to be strong. And I've had some situations in my life where some things happen and I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I should have, and I didn't cry. And I've even talked to a few people, because I'm wondering, is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why am I not shedding tears over this? And one of my good friends, he told me, he said, he says, sometimes things don't necessarily, it hits you, but the impact of it might be felt way down the road. Mm-hmm. It could be many years down the road.
Yeah.
And when he said that to me, he told me, don't beat myself up over it and stuff. And I had a friend of mine, I haven't talked to him in a very long time. And this was, your grandmother passed away over 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
And me and my mother, we had a great relationship. I love that woman. That was a woman of God. Man, oh man. And I think about her and I miss her, and think about some of the conversations that we've had, and I miss those things. And I remember we were, me and your mother were on a trip, a business trip. We were in South Africa when I got the call. And I remember I talked to my sister like earlier that night because you and your brother were staying with my sister while we were gone. And I talked to my sister earlier that night and she was just talking and stuff. And I remember the event that we were at, it was at night and they were having like this party on the beach. And it was this huge tent, bunch of vendors that were there, and it was food galore. And it was just like, so it was, we've been in conferences all day and this was the nighttime function. And I remember as my sister, as I was talking to her, and because I didn't get a call from her until around maybe 3-4 o'clock the next morning, that what had happened. So I'm talking to my sister and I'm out, and this tent is on the beach on the Indian Ocean. And we were in the city of Durban in South Africa. And I remember just looking up into the sky, and it was just so beautiful. And it was just like, man, and I was thinking about my mother. Now, I didn't know that she was going to pass. I had no idea. And I know the next day it was filled with meetings for me and your mother because we had to meet. We met like the representatives from each one of South Africa's provinces at the time. And so we had a day full of meetings. So I noticed the one thing when my sister called me in the middle of the morning. I don't know, maybe I was just like stoic. And I asked myself, I couldn't even cry. I was just like, man, what, couldn't even cry. And I asked myself, I said, what would my mother want me to do? Because we had like a few more days of meetings. And the thought was she would want me to finish the business that we came there for.
Yeah.
So the next day, when we met the rest of the group in the hotel before we went over to the convention center, your mom had told all of the people the call that we got. So they were crying. And they were all coming to me and, we're so sorry and stuff. And I'm just like, they were crying for me, but I wasn't crying.
Yeah.
I'm comforting them. So all day, we were in meetings one after another, and it was just like me and your mother and then whoever the group we were meeting with, right? And I kept excusing myself from these meetings. So the people who we were meeting with, the delegation we were meeting with, they knew what had happened. So they thought I was leaving the meeting because I was just so overwhelmed with grief. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. All that food that I ate the night before, I ate some bad stuff. And it kept sending me to the bathroom. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I was dying in that bathroom. So I would go to the bathroom and I would come back and they were like, oh, you okay? You okay? I was like, yeah, I'm good. And they'd be like, oh, we're just so sorry. But I didn't say why I was going to. It kept leaving and stuff. I just said, oh, please excuse me. And they just thought that it was like, the grief is so bad. No, my stomach was messed up bad. Oh my goodness. The food was so good, but my stomach was messed up so bad all that day. So, but then, as the time went on, so I'm gonna wrap this up. As the time went on, I found myself in a position where, man, I loved my mother. And I was even questioning, like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Got back home, services, nothing. What's wrong with me? And I just kept thinking about what would she want me to do? And, her and I, we would have these conversations and, so when it comes to emotions, and it wasn't because I shut something off. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that over the years, different things will happen and it'll make me think even more of her. There's certain things that I want to do as far as because we're really believe in legacy. Not so much as inheritance, because inheritance is one of those things of what you give to someone, what you leave to someone, basically what you give to someone. But I'm more into legacy, what you leave in someone. So there's a big difference between the two. So when I think of my mother and just some of the things that we're working on, that we're doing, I want to honor her in the best way that I can. There'll be some things, foundations set up in her name, and other things named after her. And the clone that I have, my assistant, is named after her.
It's a ChatGPT clone.
Yeah.
Not an actual clone.
Right. Yeah. It's an AI clone, and we use it in chat and on other platforms as well. Yeah. So migrating it onto other platforms, but it's very helpful and just keeps her constantly in my memory. But it's not one of those things I turn off. So again, people they grieve differently, they express emotions differently, and it's just we're just all different humans. Yeah. So as we do it, as we have experiences in our lives, number one, be grateful for the experience. We may not like the experience, but be grateful for that we have the opportunity to experience, and understand that it's not there to destroy us, but to make us better. Yeah. So.
All right. So you want to get into your topic?
Oh my goodness.
What men want.
That's like I don't even. I mean, just because we were talking about this other stuff, it doesn't even fit. It doesn't even fit. But I mean, I could touch on it a little bit. Okay. And these are conversations that you and I have, and you got the whole issue of what some people call like the manosphere, and men, as we've said before, as I've said to you, men, we're women are born with value. Yeah. Men are sort of judged on what they can do, what they can produce, that will determine their value. Yeah. Now, men are born with value too, but it's just it's just analyzed in a different fashion. And one of the things that women generally are more talkative. That's scientifically proven, and that's just the makeup of the average woman. Some women are not, but the average woman. Yeah. But we as men, we kind of like hold things in. So you guys have a tendency to, because you use more words in a given day than we do, we kind of know what's on your mind. But for us, we kind of like have to suck it all in, because nobody wants to hear, how we feel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying today? Oh, so what? Suck it up. I used to have a coworker years ago, and she would have this saying. She was like, "Oh, suck it up, Buttercup," Yeah. And it was like mainly a male dominated environment and stuff, and she would always say that. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just like people never ask the question, what men want. What do they want in a partner? In their relationships and stuff, and they don't ask for much. And we talk about this other thing too. A man who wants to get married, he just wants a partner who can be agreeable. Yeah. And agreeable doesn't mean she agrees with everything. Yeah. Someone who can be respectful. Someone who respects him. And someone who can be a good nurturer, because of course most men want to leave a legacy. So that means having children, and someone that can actually nurture those children. I mean, he's going to nurture the children as well, but he can't do it in a way that a woman does it. So it's very basic. So I think we live in this age now, and this word of submission has become like this bad word. And I think, and I clearly see why it becomes a bad word, because you hear these guys and they talk about, especially, in this manosphere, these red pilled, quote unquote, red pill guys. And they talk about, well, if I have a woman, she's got to submit to me. And that's all that they say, because I'm the protector and I'm the provider and I'm giving her everything and stuff. So she's got to submit to me. Okay. Okay. I hear you. But there's a key component that they miss. And I always said, if I ever have the opportunity to talk to some of them, this is what I'm gonna hit them with. It's like, listen, I hear you. I even agree with that. But you're missing one of the main components. The man, God created the family structure, right? So God is the head. So the man is in submission to him. The woman is in submission to God as well. So when I say to him, the man is in submission to God. The woman is in submission to God. The woman is in submission to the man. But guess what else the Bible says? It says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands. But right before that, this is the thing that people leave out. It says, husbands, submit yourselves to your wives. Yeah. So in other words, what the proper way to do it is the husbands are in submission to their wives, and the wives are in submission to their husbands. Now, any man out there who says that they don't submit to their wives, they're lying. Yeah. When your mother says to me, well, I think we should do this or whatever, I want this color and that color. Well, I'm like, okay. So what am I doing? I'm submitting to what she wants. Right. That's not a bad thing. She's there for a reason. And she's there to protect my blind spots. I'm there to protect and provide for her. She's there to help build me up, protect my blind spots, help nurture and raise my children. And I'm going to be an active participant in that. So I think that a lot of men, they miss that part where the submission goes both ways. Because we as men, you guys will say, I'll give an example. Where we live at now. Had I not listened to your mother, we wouldn't be living here. When we were coming to, we didn't even know the community that we live in was here. Or when we were coming into the community, I was going to turn around. Yeah. She was like, no, we've come too far. We've come too far. You better not turn around. She was adamant about it. And I was like, okay, so what did I do? I listened to her. Maybe I didn't want to hear her at the time, but I listened to her. And I was like, okay, she's probably on to something. Let me go with this. Yeah. And as a result of that, we ended up finding the blessing that was here waiting on us. Yeah. But what did I have to do? I had to submit to something that she said to me. Yeah. So it goes both ways. So I would have missed out because I'm in Frank. I'm operating in Frank. No, I don't want. No, but I was wise enough to listen, and it became a blessing not just for me, but for our whole family. Yeah. So submission is not a bad word, because true submission goes both ways, and even truer submissions, both parties, husbands and wives, are submitting themselves to whatever God's will is for their lives. Yeah. So,
all right,
I can leave it at that. I don't have to go get into this other stuff.
See, we started on a somber note and we ended on a happy note.
I got you. Yep. So again, this has been a great discussion, and I will just challenge everyone out there who hears this, and also drop your comments down. We'd like to see, what your thoughts are, because that's important. And if we need to answer questions in the comments, we'll do that as well.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to drop your comments in the comments, because we will read them and we will respond to them as well. So on that note, we got another episode coming up. I don't remember exactly what it is. Do you?
I'll just say it like this: it will be a surprise.
Oh, hey, that works for me. That works for me. I love doing these. I love these conversations, and I can say I learned something about you a bit more today. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly open to learn. So, but I will encourage you, turn that switch back on as far as those emotions are concerned, because God gave them to you, and you want those emotions to be used and regulated in your life as God has destined for them to be. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. And because we're all evolving to be the best version of ourselves. Hopefully we're continually evolving to do that.
Yeah.
So that being said, hey guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
God bless.
God bless.
Oh, and last thing, as we always say, if you have anything you want us to talk about,
yes,
drop it in the comments.
Please do that. Please do that.
All right. God bless.
I'm Frank.
I'm Ashley.
And
we will see you next week.
That's right. All right. Take care. Be blessed.
Bye.